I have my friend here, Carlos Guerrero. He's a fraternity brother of mine, and selected him to ask a couple of questions. So, Carlos, where did you grow up, and what was high school like?
So I grew up in a small town called Van Horn, Texas. It's about an hour and 20 minutes away from El Paso. Growing up in high school, I guess, like, was really normal to me. The majority of my hometown was Hispanic, Mexican. Um, but it being a small town, like, I got the opportunity to do more, be more involved with, like, sports, academics, community service, and stuff than most people would be able to in a like big school where they like choose one sport and that's like all they do. Like I did four sports like throughout the whole school year. It was cross country, basketball, track, and tennis. I was in the band. I was the school mascot. I um, held like positions, student council, class president, all that. Like just extra stuff, that most people are like, big schools are just like, oh, yeah, I ran like track all 4 years, and that was like it.
All right. With all those accomplishments and doing all those extracurriculars and being so involved, being a Hispanic student, what was that like growing up, especially with those extracurriculars and extra activities?
I mean, for me, it was like really normal until like I sort of got into high school and realized like how much like I guess like harder like it would be for me to pay for college, just because like I do come from like what most people think of a like Hispanic household, which is like a single parent, single mother with three kids, and like you know so like once that like I came to that realization, I sort of realized that like because I'm like Hispanic, like I am brown, I need to like my grades need to be like great, and like I have to have all these achievements to like help like push me into the next step in life. And that like became even more evident like just with like the like my friends, like the few like Caucasian people in my town, like both their parents like went like all of their they have both of their parents went to college and got college educations. But then also like I received that backlash of, oh, why do you get more scholarship money than I do? And I'm like, well, my mom makes $18,000 a year, so
Yeah. So, like you mentioned, all those social differences, and you especially mentioned like having to maybe work harder than other people. So, which leads to my next question. Especially in today, in the era of controversy and discrimination, how does being Hispanic affect your everyday life?
I mean, just honestly, depending on what like region or area I happen to be at in the United States, like I sort of have to like change my demeanor and like how I act. And I've been told by just like friends that have gone home with me to visit my family that like while I'm there, I'm just like free. Like here in Lubbock, I just try so hard to cover my accent just because I grew up speaking Spanish, so I do have that accent, and it's like I sort of tone down how like Hispanic or Mexican I am to like fit like to sort of like fit into the like culture around me.
Right. So you did mention about such as like a smaller thing. It may seem small to a lot of people, but big for others. Like having to adjust your accent, to you know maybe hide or fit in with other people speaking a certain way. So, like you said, going to Texas Tech, does that influence you in any way with regards to affiliating yourself? Like, do you feel like how does that make you feel? Like, just I guess, trying to have to like fit in a certain way, or else people will say something. Or why do you do that?
Um, I guess sort of like he said, like we are fraternity brothers. Like I joined a fraternity. I could have gone and done like the Hispanic Student Association and stuff, but I felt like yeah, that would be a good like resume builder, but like if I
Mhm.
like brought diversity to a fraternity and like did stuff in there, like that could be an even bigger like theme for me. So like just like instead of going straight to just like organizations where I can speak Spanish to people, I
Mhm.
chose like to stray away from that because like I'm like yeah, I'm always going to be able to speak Spanish, but like
Mhm.
I don't really know. I've just sort of like since coming to college, I've just like changed like just like sort of like alter like my affiliations
Mhm.
and just I don't know like kind of like an image. I don't know because it's like sometimes I feel like I'm too like my family tells me I'm like too white to be like Mexican or like my friends would like you're like too Mexican to be like our friend,
Right.
and so it's just like constantly like trying to find that like balance of like keeping like my culture but also like fitting in and like
Mhm.
breaking the stereotypes that like Hispanics and Mexicans have.
Right. Okay. So taking everything into consideration and putting it in a bigger picture, um, especially what I want to focus on a little bit more is pretty much what everything you said, but applying it in the world of sports. Like, do you think um, being going off a little on a tangent? Do you think being Hispanic has a certain effect when trying to make it to the next level in sports or making it to the professional league in sports?
I feel like it does because usually when people are like, oh, they're Hispanic, you know, they're gonna think like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, like a lot of people associate like Hispanics or like people from Mexico or like the Dominican Republic as like big people in baseball or like soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and so usually like I feel like it really has an effect on those who want to do sports outside just like what people stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me that would be like tennis,
Right.
you know. um, and so I feel like it does have an impact sort of like on people trying to go to that next level,
Mm-hmm.
just because I know like depending on like where they live, what like you know if they're from like a low socioeconomic like family to like someone that has a higher, like they'll have more or less opportunities to like get those extra like
Mm-hmm.
practices, join those clubs and stuff to like take them to the next level.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very